Welcome to Bootstrap Businessmen, the podcast devoted to the aspiring entrepreneur on a shoestring budget. Here are your hosts, #1 best-selling fitness author Dale L. Roberts and the Midwest's best, Kevin S. Allen.
Did it go?
Of course, now we are live. That one's right there is from my big brother Walt, because Walt says that every single one of our videos, Kevin is managing to be having that shit-eating grin at the very beginning. And, you know, a lot of people don't realize this. When you hit Google Hangouts, you know, it has like the panning back and forth. So if somebody's talking, whoever's like the loudest, essentially, it's going to go over. So somehow you might clear your throat, you might, you know, shuffle around with some papers. You just happen to always pop up first. It's not like you're a freaking jib jab or anything.
No, I usually am like,
Right, yeah. Or you're cracking a fart, probably.
yeah, I usually try to do that. No.
Yeah. I just tried cracking one, and I realized it was poop, so I probably shouldn't push too hard.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but you did. So, all right, that's good. Man, what a great guest, dude, tonight.
Yes, we had the one and only Clay Green, and I got to say that this was probably an even better podcast for the fact that we had probably one hiccup as opposed to one gigantic problem like we did last time, where it was like 5 minutes of downtime where you and I were like, what are we talking about?
What's going on? Call the cable company. Call the Coast Guard. Something happened. Holy shit. Yeah.
Yeah, he had some great stuff. I anticipate as I was sharing with him, I don't know, did I say it live? Maybe it was after we got off, but I want to take the meditation thing that he was talking about, probably condense it down and put it onto one of our blogs, because as you've seen, this month, just started doing it this month, where I have the blog, and at the very same time, I've got the video where I'm pretty much just, it's essentially me reading from the blog and talking from it. And of course, I did the one today, actually was one with Dewan Bainey talking about branding and such. So that's on bootstrapbusinessman.com. Plug. But yeah, I imagine probably going into July, that'll probably be my first feature of the month, is getting Clay's talk about meditation, because that is just crucial. It's funny, actually, in my fitness motivation group, I've been talking about meditation, and probably when we get off here, I'm going to further expand on that, because over an Hour to Empower on Blog Talk Radio, I ran it for quite some time. And one of my two-time guests, oddly enough, was Amber Leffler, and she talked a little bit about Tai Chi on one, and then she talked about meditation on the next one. And I had her actually do like a full 15 minutes of a guided meditation.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that today in the fitness motivation group, and give some people, because not all forms of meditation are there's so many different types. It's almost like someone saying, you know, well, meditation's terrible. I tried it once. Well, what type? There's a huge difference between bodybuilding and CrossFit training. I mean, wouldn't you agree? But both of them are athletic endeavors that are good for you. So meditation's in the same regards. There's so many different ways, between, you know, the chanting type to, you know, affirmations to incantations to just the good old fashioned guided to, you know, ones that I do is music meditation, where I get the music actually to help time me and help me where I can kind of release a little bit.
I was going to ask you about that. Do you use correct me if I'm saying it wrong, binaural beats?
Binaural. I think it's binaural. I could be a little bit off. Anybody's listening to this.
Babel, you know.
Yeah, Babel. It's binaural, binaural beats. Yeah, it's not in every single one of the meditation type discs. I think that HoloSync is one of the pioneers of doing, or actually Cinderpoint is the name of the actual company itself, but HoloSync is the program of doing like the meditation, and it's very interesting. You can't just typically just put it on like a stereo and just do that. You know, ideally you want to have some good noise reducing headphones to where it's over top of you and you can really hear that. And it's pretty interesting. Some of them kind of have like this like panning type technology where it almost seems like it's going around the back of your head when you're hearing it.
Yeah.
You know, it's very cool. I turn it up to where it's just slightly uncomfortable, but not too much. So it's not going to be like, you know, when I listen to metal in the gym where it's just
Everybody can hear it.
hearing damage. Which, by the way, I haven't done too much, and we'll get into audiobooks here in just a few minutes, I'm sure. But you know, I actually haven't listened to very much metal in the gym very much lately. I actually just listen to all audiobooks at 2 times speed.
Nice.
That is my thing lately, man. It really works out. I actually, it's funny. I'll get into the gym and I'll sit there and I'll have like a song I'll be like thinking about, and I'll be like, oh, I can't wait to hear that song. And then I'm like, I get on the treadmill to kind of warm up, and I go, oh wait, no, I'm gonna be listening to audiobooks. It's just now that's my thing. I really find that it keeps me a bit more focused on my workouts, and then in between sets, I'm not doing what I normally do, which is getting on and then messaging you or messaging you.
Jeez, man. Make it
No,
sound all
no.
bad. No, I'm just fucking
Well,
with
you know, I'm right now in my third period of my workout plan, and I have no downtime between. Every
Yeah.
now and then I'll give myself some downtime, but I have all full active recovery. Today was a little lighter, so if you got a message for me during my workout, it was because I got up today and I'm feeling all banged up. So,
Dude, that's how I'm gonna feel tomorrow. I'm sure. I know it. I
what
can
do you
already
have on your
tell.
plate today?
Today was, let's see, where did we start? It was all chest workout, but it was all heavy. It was all dumbbell flies. And then we went from there to cable crossovers.
I thought you said it was all dumbbell flies. You're fucking with me, man.
Okay, all chest workout. Let's put it that way.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, but it's all heavy this week. So I'm a ding dong, and I'm like, well, how heavy can I go? And I will take myself to the limit, and afterwards you're like, really? I don't think they mean, push yourself to the point you're not going to be able to walk the next day. But anyway, so doing that, I can feel it all across my shoulders. And then yesterday, like I told you, 155-pound barbell shrugs. That was dumb. That was really dumb. But because my shoulders hurt so bad right through here.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, it's not even probably just your traps. It's going to be going over into.
No, the joint hurts a little bit. It feels like, yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to jump too high on that, but I'll save that for my.
Yeah. Speaking of keeping focus, man, it's kind of funny. It was either Pantera. I got into a little Slayer, then you turned me on to Devil Driver there for a little bit. But then all of a sudden it was just like, this isn't. I was like, So then I'm like, what's going to work? So I listened to a little bit of audiobook, but it's more classical now, like a Beethoven symphony or something, or Mozart. I can throw that on, and dude, ultra focused. Like everything else ceases to exist besides what I'm working on.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, you got to find that thing and find that flow, which of course we're talking a little bit about today.
Kicking the flow.
Yeah, you know what? I said we probably weren't going to ease into it, but we'll probably go to it eventually here about something I got very, very, not just passionate about. I got a little bit upset. I got a little bee in my bonnet. But let's before we go into things, we brought up a really good, a few resources from Clay's interview, and I definitely wanted to go back over it. So, folks, if you haven't had the opportunity, please go to enthusiasticclay.com. That's, they're spelled enthusiastic and then put lay right afterwards. So enthusiasticclay.com. And he's going to be having a webinar tomorrow night. If you're not watching this live, unfortunately, you're probably too late for the webinar, but I would really highly recommend that you get over to Enthusiastic Clay and get yourself over onto his subscription list. And he'll notify you. Clay is a good guy, and you're definitely not going to be on a spammers list or anything like that. So well trusted, well endorsed. He also suggested following up with Tim Ferriss, his interview with Scott Adams on the podcast. Scott Adams, the illustrator for Dilbert Comics, is my understanding. I haven't had the opportunity to listen to this because obviously we just interviewed him 20 minutes ago. And then The Rise of Superman. And I pulled that up during our interview, and I wanted to say something, but, gosh, it's really hard to interrupt Clay, man. I'm telling you, when he gets in the role, man, he's good, man. And I almost would feel bad if I did interrupt him. But he brought up The Rise of Superman. That's Decoding the Science of Ultimate Human Performance. It's a book by Stephen Kotler, and it is actually on ACX. And here's a really good cutting insight for you, my friend Kevin. It's a bestseller in sports right now on Audible.
Wow,
very cool, right? So that means it is being purchased like a mad mofo. So maybe we need to peek on what this person's doing. It was released actually in March 4th of 2014. Its average rating is about 4.2, 695 ratings. Good, sweet, mammy pajammy.
wow.
Good Lord. Yeah, I just made up that word by now, right now. It is 9 hours and 23 minutes long. But essentially, anybody that is listening to this and you'd like to get your hands on it, Kevin and I would love to give you an opportunity that you can actually have the audiobook 100% free.
That's free.
100% free. We're not asking you for anything. We're not going to make you sign up for any subscription or anything else like that. If you email us the first 5, that's right, I'm cutting off at 5. The first 5 people that will email us at bootstrapbusinessmen@gmail.com. Once again, that's bootstrapbusinessmen@gmail.com. We'll send a free copy of the audiobook to The Rise of Superman. We want to make sure that you have that in your hands. I'm going to probably download it myself as soon as we get off here. And that's a book that right now it's retailing for $13.99. So save yourself about $14. Get yourself a copy of this. All you got to do is just email us and say, hey, could you hook me up with the audiobook copy? Don't worry. There are 5 people we'll accept. And if for some reason you happen to be the 6th or 7th person, we'll make it worth your while. We'll give you at least some kind of a parting gift. But all you got to do is act now. Get a hold of us at bootstrapbusinessmen@gmail.com. And we'll hook you up with The Rise of Superman, Decoding the Science of Ultimate Human Performance. So looking forward to actually listening to this one. 9 hours and 23 minutes. And at the pace that I go, Kevin, when I listen to it,
2 hours?
I put it on 2 times. Yeah, dude, right now I'm on Gary Vaynerchuk's Ask Gary V, his recent book. Dude, Gary V already speaks so fast. Can you imagine him at 2 times the speed? He's like, I'm catching all the information, and it's so great. Because me, I'm kind of just, when I'm listening to it, it really helps out because, I like to keep a good, quick pace. Not that I'm a CrossFitter by any stretch, but, I like to keep it going. And on top of that, it's just me. I'm a little bit ADHD on a bad day, on a good day. Good Lord. That's why some people are like, how do you do it? I'm like, it's just my system. That's what I do. That's my thing.
It's flow.
Yeah, exactly. So I put it at 2 times. YouTube, anytime I get a chance to do it, I do it 2 times. Right now, actually, I am plugging into Frank Kern's The Ultimate Webinar Blueprint. And if I can be frank, which, even if you disproved of me being frank, I'd still be frank anyways. I'm like, where the hell is the 2 times bar at? Fuck! Give me a 2 times bar. I want to hear your information twice as fast, because he's just kind of like, Frank, by the way, if you have an opportunity, and if you are a business owner, plug into Frank Kern. This man is a millionaire, multimillionaire for good reason, and he is funny as hell. He just speaks our language, you and I, Kevin. It's just Frank Kern just keeps. I'll be like, I'm sure Kelly probably sees me because we both work at the breakfast bar sometimes, and I'll probably start randomly grinning because Frank Kern just cracks me up. Some of the things he'll say. He rabbit trails just like us, and he'll just say some stuff that just cracks me up, But in any event, the webinar blueprint, good, sweet mammy pajammy. Could you please give me a 2 times speed, Frank Kern? Please.
Like, no. You're listening to it at this speed, Dale.
Yes,
you will gain all of the information.
Just have the 2 times the speed option. Seriously, if you are an internet marketer or you're putting together course content and you seriously offer, this is a great upsell. You're like, for $100 more, we'll give you the option to listen to it twice as fast. I would be like, here's my credit card. Here's my credit card, please. In fact, actually, my credit card's looks like my library card, but.
Was that unicorns on there?
No, it's a phoenix.
Oh, okay. Yeah, nice.
It's a robot phoenix rising from the ashes.
Do you like robot chicken?
I haven't watched that in a number of years, man.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, it was one of those ones where some episodes just kind of bored the shit out of me.
The ones that I liked were the He-Man episodes.
Yeah, see,
No.
At any rate, that's the information I want to make sure we pass on to everybody. The audiobook stuff. So please get a hold of us. Blah blah blah. Yakety schmackety. So Kevin,
Dale,
our conversation. It seems like this is probably going to take a good bulk of our information here, and you could probably hear my wife's over here cutting some stuff up in the background. So never mind her. This is okay. I'm not yelling at her, by the way. I don't get off like the podcast and start to threaten to beat her because that just wouldn't be possible.
what's she cooking up?
It sounds to me like she's probably doing cucumbers. It's the only thing in our fridge right now.
Dude, cucumbers. I love some cucumbers, brother.
Yeah, some cucumbers because I don't think she's chopping up beans because I just made a bunch of beans. But anyway, so I had a conversation, and I'm just going to keep this conversation anonymous, but conversation happened via Messenger. Okay, this person. Here's my big issue. Whenever it comes to something, there are two topics that I really personally believe that if you're going to have a conversation with somebody, you first of all need to kind of come into an agreement, first of all, that you're going to be having that. And the next thing is, don't broach that subject via email, messaging, texting, anything like that, because for one, there's going to be a lot of miscues, miscommunications, and misunderstandings, when it comes to that. You got first person-to-person contact. So for instance, and I'll talk about those two specific ones. Actually, I'd say the third one would be business. So for instance, today I got in touch with Morris. Morris is someone that Jason and I are pretty much getting in contact with to talk business with him in regards to SPU. And so it wouldn't have seemed right for me to send him an email or send him just, a simple message. I just essentially said, hey, look, I've got something that could be a great opportunity to you. However, let's make sure we connect. It was so funny. I kind of jacked with him at first. I was like, yeah, this isn't a direct sales thing. Cause I was just like, well, I've got this opportunity that I'd like for you to hear. This might take a few minutes, but I promise it won't take too much of your time. And I started feeling like, I was like, oh my God, am I starting to sell Avocare to him again?
That's what I was just thinking. Okay, he's going, okay, here's Avocare or Amway coming through my door right now.
Right, exactly. So I had to kind of diffuse it. He was cracking up laughing. He's like, no, I didn't think you're probably going that direction. But, that's so important when it comes to business. You do it person to person, either face to face or, a video chat to video chat in this instance, or at least by phone to where you're verbally doing it. I really think that if you can ever have a serious conversation with somebody, body language makes up 80% of the conversation. And hearing a person's voice and hearing the inflection as well is another portion of that. Whereas if you're just delivering a message, you don't quite get it as much. I see this quite a bit when it comes to aspiring authors, and they try to communicate in either, bold lettering, italics, caps and things like that. And that's all well and good, but it can still be misunderstood by the reader. So with that being said, the conversation came about where I was just discussing, someone just pretty much told me, look, I work in a retail type store, and all retail stores, essentially from the gist that I got from it, is all retail stores are bad. And, they make millions of dollars, and I'm kind of like, well, why are you in the job? He's miserable and, pretty much goes to work and said he's ready to, here's the exact words. Some days I'm ready to Hulk smash. Yes, Hulk smash. And I was like, well, hey, you're my boy. I'll come visit you in prison. So, and I meant that in all sincerity, hey, look, as long as you ain't, I hate to say something, but as long as you ain't doing something that's really bad, like molesting children or something like that, and I'm not trying to make light of that, or raping women, you're going to be my boy, and I'm always going to go visit you in prison. You rob a store, well, that's a dumb idea, but I'll still come visit you. If you Hulk smash somebody at work, I'll definitely come visit you because I can relate. There were some times where I was in a job that I wasn't very, very happy. So let's hang on to this point for just a minute. Why do people stay in jobs that they're not happy at, man? I don't understand it.
Honestly, it's in their mind, right? One of the things that I think that people do is they look around them, right, when they're thinking about this, and they start thinking of all the things that they have to, we'll just say it, pay, right?
Okay.
Okay, bills, credit card payment, whatever they have,
Pimp.
pimp, yeah, drug use, whatever the situation is. I don't judge, right? And I think what they do is they feel trapped. They see zero alternative. And then what happens in those moments, man, and this happens, I know it does to people, they'll see somebody that has more or maybe has the life that they want or wanted at one time, right?
Yeah.
Because our goals and our situations change. What I wanted 5 years ago is not the same thing I want right now. So,
True.
but anyway, so they see somebody maybe cruising along in say, we'll use a specific car, just a Mercedes, right? Rolling along, tops down, music's up, just loving life, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Coffee, just loving it, smile on their face, whatever the situation. They see that, they're already infuriated. So now they're throwing there's jealousy over onto this situation, which in that traps their mind even more. And they just feel like there's no way out. There's nothing they can do. The short of Hulk smashing somebody, you know what I mean, is kind of and it goes back to what Clay was saying. They're reacting, right?
Yeah.
They're living in a reactionary state of mind versus that just flow.
Yeah, the in-between state. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because Lord knows that I got into that comfortable reaction state when it came to being in a job. And
Sure.
I really didn't believe that I had it within myself to actually be in the position that I am now. I always just try to tell people I make no grand illusions. I'm not a millionaire, okay? But I know that between my wife and myself, we're paying our bills. We're taking care of ourselves, and we've got a few extra, bucks left over after our paychecks. Best-selling
that's huge.
Limo is pulling up, and picking me up anytime soon. But nonetheless, I'm happy with the position I'm at. But I was afraid that I wasn't going to be able to get to that position. But I knew that reacting to that particular circumstance was, well, I'm just going to keep going to work and keep trying to make some money. But internally, I was kind of, for lack of better words, dying inside. Where I felt like Hulk smashing, many people. And I wouldn't say many people. I always loved working with the senior citizens. I never felt like Hulk smashing them. Even when they were being crotchety and grouchy with me, I always kind of understood. I'm like, look, when I get old, if I feel like being crotchety and pissing on the floor, then fuck it, I'll be able to do it. I've earned that privilege, as a senior citizen.
This is more the administration, probably.
Yeah, it typically was. It was from a staff standpoint, and this goes in just about any job. So I don't want anybody to think that, I'm pointing any particular finger at any one organization. It was in many organizations that I've been within. And I always had kind of, you think to yourself, I'm going to go from one job to the next. Okay. So let's just say, for instance, my friend who's in retail, he finally says, okay, screw it. It's the place, and goes to another retail location. So maybe they're going from, say, working at the grocery store to working over at like Walmart, Target, or they go from Target to Walmart. I'm not going to, discredit any of these organizations. They're all retail, just in general, thinking that they're going to be able to escape their problems. But, they go over to this other one and, it maybe went from, I hate my assistant manager because he's kind of a dick. He makes me work overtime. And sometimes he's written me up over the dumbest things. And then, okay, well, they got rid of that assistant manager, but then they come over here and they find out that in this other organization that the regional vice president comes in and wipes his butt on their
right.
No matter what, you're going to go in any walk of life, even as an independent, an entrepreneur, you're going to run into those type of people. It's going to be how you react to them that's most important. So if you're in a job right now that you're miserable at, you need to kind of get down to the nitty gritty of why are you miserable? Why are you unhappy? And what can you do about it? Because if you can do something about it, then do it.
Do it.
If it's, regional vice president taking him aside, hey, dude, I don't like you wiping your ass on my coat. And if that puts your job at jeopardy, then so be it. But, you know, if you're not happy with somebody wiping your ass on the coat, then, you know,
you got to share
or,
that.
Yeah, or an assistant manager, you know, you got to be able to get a big sack and put it right on top of the table and risk it. But here's the thing is, if you find that you can't control the situation, then get the fuck out. Okay,
Right.
you got to get out. You got to get out, because here's the thing is, if you try to control the situation and you couldn't control the situation, you found you can control the situation, there's only two options I see in front of you. You either change your mind, which is up here, change how you see the situation, or change your environment. And so unfortunately, some people change their environment and they think that they're going to, you know, it's going to be like, yay, rainbows and unicorns, as Kevin S. Allen says. Rainbows and unicorns. Let me just ride on my steed on this rainbow over to the jolly, jolly land of this next 9-to-5 job. And I tell you, there's going to be another dick waiting over there. And
yeah.
With you. So.
Well, yeah, man. Well, here's the big thing, right? I used to teach people this that worked for me. They would complain about this or that, you know, they'd have individual meetings. I said, okay, well, you know, you're free to do whatever you want. You're a grown person. If you're not happy here, I honestly, I don't want you here, because if you're not happy, guess what? I'm not happy. Customers aren't happy. But I just want you to keep one thing in mind before you make a decision. And they're like, what's that? I said, no matter where you go, there you are. Okay. So you can take the situation, you can change it all you want, but you keep taking your damn self with you. So you're right. You have to change your mindset first about how you see life in general.
Yeah.
And then two, man, and this is 90%, I'm going to say 90%. It's not a case study. It's just my opinion. 90% of all companies out there, they all started as entrepreneurs. You know, that's what our, country was founded on. But here's the thing, man, from the initiator, the creator of the company, and then down to frontline management staff, there's a lot that's lost along the way. And one of those things is that they teach people how to react. They don't teach people how to think. It's all reactionary on the front lines. You know, upset customer comes in, or the manager's being a dick, or your coworker's doing this. It's how you react, right? Because you have to keep this pace, and it's all reactionary. But they never teach anyone how to think. So, honestly, you stay in a situation like that, you're gonna forget how to think for yourself. You know, but just always remember, no matter where you go, there you are. If you take this here, it's going to end up being the same thing, maybe a little different, like you said. Could be the regional manager coming in and wiping his ass in her coat versus the assistant manager making you work overtime. So this has to change first.
Absolutely. And of course, you know, being able to, you know, speak your mind. I think so many people just are afraid that, you know, you're being paid to shut your mouth up. And if you're being paid to shut your mouth up, I think you've aligned yourself with the wrong employer. Yeah. You know, I'm not telling you to go in and curse somebody out, but in the same instance, if you aren't happy with something, you need to make sure that you disclose that with whoever's in charge or whoever's responsible for you feeling that way. If it's a subordinate that's treating you that way, then, you know, you should be the pro. You should be the manager. I did this many, many times as an activities director, where I wasn't happy with somebody, and I would bring them back into my office. I'd close the door and I say, hey, I'm going to get ready to say some, you know, I'm going to drop 411 here on you. And this is not going to feel good, but I'm also going to allow you the opportunity to speak on your behalf as soon as I can be able to clear myself and feel a little bit better. And usually people were like, okay, cool. And the funny thing is, every single time that I would do that, every single time that person would walk away from that conversation with a smile on their face and saying, you know what? I'm so glad you took me aside and talked to me like that. You know, because I wasn't a dick about it. You know, I'd have to really, really hold myself back. I kind of turn into my brother from time to time, where I'm just like, and you know, it sounds like a pot boiling over, you know, and that doesn't really come off as being very professional. You know, you want to make sure that you can connect with somebody and express to them, you know, look, and sometimes it would take like 5 minutes of composure, and I would get a little shaky ahead of time when I had to kind of talk to somebody that I felt was very touching situation, but nonetheless, I'd always take them aside. That's the most important thing is, you know, if you've got issue with somebody, never call them out in front of other people. No. Don't do it. It was Deepak Chopra did that. You remember, that's how Deepak started out his incredible career. Now, You ain't no Deepak Chopra, so don't be dumping files on top of your people over your superior's head and storming out in front of a group of people. That's
it's not 1985 anymore either. So
yeah, files like just drop a little top on someone's head.
Yeah. But no, man, and that's the crazy part, dude, is it seems like there's a scarcity with that mindset.
Really
yeah, because they see people, they start to judge people. Would you agree? You start judging somebody that maybe in your mind has it better than you, and there's envy, and then you start judging them. I mean, have you ever seen that situation?
I think there was a point where I was in that particular type of mindset. I think going back even to prior to my whole fitness, my love for fitness, I had no confidence. Any confidence that I exuded was kind of a forced situation. And a lot of what I used to sit there and pay attention to was all these big rock stars. And I would think, oh, they have it so easy. They've got all their millions of dollars. And this evolves into, of course, the conversation that I had with this other person that got me pretty lit up. And it was, $8 million, that's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous amount of money. You should be giving back to people. And that's where I started becoming bitter. And I felt like almost like, this should be a communist state here. Everybody should have equal amount of money, but that's so not true. I mean, we're in a capitalist, environment, and this is what it is. And if you don't like it, well, I hate to sound like some redneck, America, if you don't like it, here's a good idea. You can always just go down south to like Brazil, maybe. You can always go out into the, deep jungles of Brazil and, join an Aboriginal tribe, and you can really see exactly what it's like to live like that.
Well, they'll be miserable there too, because
you're not going to, because here's the thing is you go to an employer. Okay. Oh, he's making $8 million. Well, guess what? You're helping him. And whose fault is that?
Right.
I mean,
right.
Okay. So let's make the argument here. Let's make the argument. Okay. I go work for this high retail person. Okay. He pays me minimum wage, maybe barely minimum wage, but I have to pay my bills. But in the same instance, man, they drive such good bargains. So I'm going to buy my groceries there too. So then what ends up happening is you end up working for them to pay for your groceries and pay for your bills. And in turn, you're just making it higher. Well, here's a good idea. Stop working for them or stop shopping from them or both of them. Stop working for them, stop shopping from them. If you're so bitter and so twisted about that person making so much money, here's a good idea. Get off your political platform and make a difference. If you really believe in what you're doing, then put your foot down. So, for instance, Kevin Goodland. I don't think he minds me name dropping him here. Kevin is a good guy. Kevin is anti-Walmart, like full on. He pretty much is just like, I haven't stepped into a Walmart. I think he might have said ever, or it had been like a ridiculous number of years, like back when Sam Walton was still alive. He just won't, and there is, he has his own, beliefs, and, I could go into them, but I'd rather not misrepresent what he said. But he essentially is anti-Walmart, does not go into them. He will pay the extra amount of money and go to another retail place. If there was Walmart next door to him and something else 10 miles away, he'll drive the 10 miles to get his groceries instead of go to Walmart.
Well, I mean, that's impressive, actually. He's holding his ground, in his beliefs. So yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, you can see, like, I can commend him because he has integrity in his beliefs. But you can't have integrity in your beliefs if you're going and working for the person and you're also getting things from them. So you're taking the money that they're paying you to pay them to give you. It's a vicious cycle. Here's a great idea. Really believe in what you're saying. First of all, don't sit here and tell somebody blindly believing that you're gonna agree with you, or they're much less comfortable with you bringing that up through a message. Here's a great idea. Make a stand. And you can't tell me that we're not living in the land of plenty, man. There's so much opportunity, so ripe for the picking. In fact, low-hanging fruit that's so much greater than a minimum wage job where you feel like Hulk smashing people and you hate the people that are representing the top of the company. Okay. Yeah. You don't like that they're making $8 million per second. So here's a good idea. Stop supporting them. You know,
right.
There's so many other great companies out there. Now we can sit here and make a stand about what a person should be making, what a person shouldn't be making. That's fine. And, you know, I'll get into another point when it comes to something like that. But man, this all wraps back around to messaging something. There's 2 things you don't message me about. Well, 3, of course, I said the business. So let's just take business off the table. It's religion and politics, man. Don't message me about that kind of shit. Yeah. And most likely, if you're posting up on your Facebook wall and you're like wondering, well, did you see my post lately? Well, there's a good reason. You put something up about religion or politics. I'm not wanting to see that shit. I'm not wanting to talk about it. If you want to talk about it in person, that's great. Most likely, if I feel like shutting off from it, which most instances I do, I probably will kind of give that I don't give a fuck look to you. yeah, exactly. So yeah, I got that message, and it was, and I really believe it's almost politically driven, you know, especially when somebody's just like, I've got communist beliefs. Like, oh, you're in the wrong fucking country.
Like, whoa. Did you consider yourself an American? I mean, that's my first question.
Yeah. Wow. Jeez, it just blows me away. And then, of course, you know, you got some people that have their conspiracy theories, and, well, we can't go in a communist state. No, we're not.
No, not quite.
Not. Yeah.
No. Yeah, man, that's crazy. You know, I'm glad you brought that up, man, because politics and religion, 2 things. Social media, nope. Texting,
yeah, exactly.
No,
nope, I don't know. I don't want, you know, I don't want to know about your prayers for me. No. You know, that's great. I'm glad you like to send those positive thoughts and such like that. It's not where we meet on the same ground here. So no, keep it off there. And, you know, oh, good Lord. No, especially right now, all my sweet mother glory, all the things about politics and such like that. And even if I agree with you, I will shut your shit off in 2 seconds, because I'm like, oh, come on. No, I just want to kind of like, I want to see cute cat photos.
Yes. And, you know, something uplifting, positive, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Like put Botchmania on your friggin' feed. I'm really willing to read that. I get on social media, not for the fucking religion or politics, for crying out loud. I want release. I want to kind of get away from things that I can otherwise plug into very simply by turning on my television.
Right. Or research yourself, you know what I mean? Just like your friend with the Walmart. He's got his own beliefs, and you know, I'll be honest with you, if he read the same case study that I read on them about 3-4 years ago, I can see where he's coming from. But it's neither here nor there. But I do also want to put a little preempt in here for everybody that is listening. If you like what you're doing, my God, be the best at it. I don't care if you're working at Walmart or if you're working at a gas station. If you love what you're doing, then do it 100%. That's it. Love what you're doing, right?
Absolutely.
We're talking about the majority of people, though, that just bitch and complain and moan, but don't do anything about their life.
Yeah, you have no room to bitch or complain. And especially if you know every single movie or show on Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime. You know, and YouTube videos. Fucking kidding me?
There's no time.
Here and read that stuff, but you don't have time to go find a job that you'd be happy in, or for that matter, create residual income as a part-time basis. Because I'm going to tell you this right now. You know, I've said this many shows, and we've even had shows directly about it. Self-publishing doesn't have to cost you a dime. My buddy Harold proved it. Yeah. He is making money right now, dude. He's making money. And do you know how much money he invested? 0. Nothing, and he's making money already. So, there's no Netflix and Hulu and friggin' Amazon and all the hottest new friggin' music videos on YouTube. You fucking kidding me?
Yeah, dude, that's one subject. We talked about it I don't know how many times.
Yeah, it really
Kev, I just don't have time.
Yeah, I don't have the time. Yeah, bullshit, you don't have the time. You don't have the priorities. You don't have your priorities in check. Your priorities is Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, YouTube, and then it comes to, here's my happiness. Well, hey, guess what? If your happiness is watching all those freaking shows and going to a job that you detest, don't fucking come and complain to me. You have no room to complain. If you want to complain, guess what? Do it over to that wall, because you know all you're going to do is you're just sitting here, you're taking a stick, and I'm a hornet's nest. You're going to be sticking. Do you think that I love to have 4 hours sleep? on a particular given night? Do you think it's one of those cases I'm like, man, I'd love to have no sleep? Hell no, it isn't. It's because I have a goal. I have priorities. I want to get myself to where I can be able to set a substantial amount of income to the point to where my wife and I, and this is my reason, the two of us can be able to pick up and go see my buddy Kevin S. Allen, or we can go see her sisters, or we can go see my brother. And we can go see, my sister. We can go see my dad up in Michigan. We can go over and see my best buddy Sammy in Florida. We can go anywhere we want to. Huge thing for us is affording the travel without any kind of exception, whether anytime, any cost, anywhere. And that's a huge thing for us. And that's why. So that's my priorities. That's why I got my priorities in check. But if you've got time to hear, but I owe it to myself. I work so hard at the job I fucking hate. Oh, that makes complete sense. Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. You go ahead and decompress so you can go return to that shitty job that you bitch about, where you believe that the owner of the company shouldn't be making $8 million per month or whatever it might be. Oh,
dude, here's the way that I look at it. And, I've heard people say this many times, the same subject. I'm like, look, this company has 250,000 employees in it. There's one guy making the decisions, right? I don't want to be that guy. So whatever he's getting paid, cool. It's probably worth it because whatever he's making this company bigger, it's growing, whatever.
Yep.
I don't care what he's making, to be honest with you, because if that man or woman can shoulder that responsibility and they love it and they're doing a great job at it, then it's priceless, right?
Absolutely.
So whatever, man. I mean, because as an entrepreneur, you don't want to limit yourself to saying, well, $8 million is too much, because guess what? You're never going to make $8 million then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. You can't limit yourself on those type of things. And the part that really gets me is the person that's in the point of scarcity that goes to a job that they're not happy at, that they don't align with, and as far as their belief and their own integrities that they're having to sacrifice in order to get the job so they can put food on the table, so they can pay the rent, so they can watch their Netflix and their Hulu and their Amazon Prime and their YouTube. And where does it end? Where does it end?
The sad thing about it, those situations, unless they make a conscious choice to make that shift, it's typically something happens that is detrimental, right?
Yeah.
Maybe life-threatening sometimes, that makes you stop and say, wait a minute, now I've only got a year or two to live. What am I going to do? Versus saying, guess what? You might not wake up tomorrow.
Yeah.
So be grateful and put everything that you can into today and be happy, and just grateful for that. So, dude, I get it, man. That stuff ruffles my feathers to no end when I can sit and somebody sells me. Or here's the crazy part, man. They bitch and complain and moan. They hate their job. They hate their employee, the people they work with. But then their escape is into posting negative stuff about politics or religion on Facebook. Yeah. So it went from this negative, and their escape is more negativity. It never stops. It's like, how do you even function?
Yeah, it becomes a never-ending cycle. I think that you'll see, most instances. I think I probably have one negative post over the last 5-6 years of me actually having a Facebook.
Sure.
Because of the fact that, I try to really censor what I put on there. I think there was once recently where I had a meltdown because, that's a whole different story of itself, where people expect reciprocation.
Right.
I don't owe you shit. Did I ask for that? No, I didn't ask for that. But that's another story.
Right. I remember. I remember that.
That just kind of, that also just, here's another argument that was made on this person's behalf, was something that just slays me is making a comparison of hard work. Well, person that's making $8 million worked hard to get that position. No, this person said it was luck, being at the right place at the right time. Everybody's going to tell you. He kind of did like a study say type thing where, well, everybody says, every successful person says you have to be at the right place at the right time. Well, you also got to work your ass off to know where that right place and right time is at. And you never will exactly know when that's going to happen. And quite frankly, there's never, ever a position where you're like, well, successful, time to call it a day. Good night.
Right.
I made that sell. It was something that I'd always thought about as a kid, But as becoming an adult, and I finally realized it, I was like, holy crap, that was something I'd always wanted to be. It was a best-selling author. But I didn't sit there and go, well, I did it once, time to call it a day. No, I did it multiple times already. And you know what? I plan on doing it dozens and dozens more times and possibly toppling that specific record. I'm not going to try to, step back on it. But at any rate, though, luck. I mean, tell me, was I lucky?
People confuse luck with hard work.
Yeah.
It's often disguised, right? No, absolutely not, dude. And anybody that wants to question this, you can go back through our messenger if you want to, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes, you know what I mean?
6.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's no joke. I mean, dude.
And then like you getting like another message within 3 to 4 hours. You're like, did you already sleep? Yep.
Yes, I'm awake. Let's go.
I took 3 scoops of pre-workout. I'm good right now.
Wired for sound. Yeah. And that's the thing, dude. Okay, well, let's take this back. So the person making $8 million, I like this point. I love talking about this. If you take that person and you look at their educational history, right?
Yeah.
So the work that they put in for their education, well, that's enough right there to probably go, oh, okay, that makes sense. But no. Let's take it further. Let's look at all the organizations that they belong to. Let's look at the charities that they've helped. Let's look at, just different philanthropic, things that they're doing and stuff. Put all of that together and tell me that's luck. Right. You know what I mean? That's a lot of hard work. Dude, you work, man. You for example, right? This is perfect because you're on the show with us right here, and people can relate to you.
Yeah.
If anybody's listening, man, you're never gonna find anybody that works any harder than you. Hands down, honestly, man. Because I'll wake up at 6 a.m. and there's a couple messages, and I look at the time difference. Right now, we are 3 hours apart. They'll be 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah. And
guess what? About 9 o'clock, 9:30ish. So you're talking maybe 4 or 5 hours sleep. You're back at it, right? And you work throughout the day, dude. You don't stop. The reason why? You're filled with passion. A, for your life, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
B, for the work that you're doing, because that's you putting yourself into this and trying to help others. Okay. So there's another level of passion. And just the detail, right? Just think about this. You run your car through a car wash. That's minimal effort. Put a few bucks in, run it through, spray it off, right? But now if you detail it, there's a lot of difference in the work.
Absolutely.
Okay? So, dude, comparing luck and hard, you have to work hard and be open and grateful for everything that's coming and happening to you. And then guess what? Yes, luck or an opportunity, as I like to call it, will appear. Okay?
Absolutely, yeah. And all that overnight success type bullshit.
Yeah, you are an overnight success, man, but you work overnight for your success. Let's put it that way.
The other thing end of things here. So, let's go back to the whole millionaire comparison. The person that's making him $8 million. So this other argument was made. Well, if I made that much, I would give back. Now, unfortunately, I think that's very ignorant for you to assume that the person's not giving back, because we can point out to numerous people that give back, but should they give every last penny of their money back? I mean, do you think that's right? Because, even if they give every last penny back to charitable causes, guess what? That's a write-off. Right. And it's like Brewster's Millions. You can't get rid of your money.
Yeah, you can't. You turn the faucet on, you can't stop it. Yeah. Well,
it slays me because, Bill Gates, has his own scholarships and grants that he's put out. I mean, this guy he's billionaire, maybe trillionaire. I'm not really sure.
He's a multi-billionaire.
Yeah, he's a billionaire. Vince McMahon is another great example, that I know of. His company alone spends, millions of dollars towards charitable causes, including one of which, by the way, John Cena, a millionaire, who is also the person who has fulfilled the most wishes and Make-A-Wish Foundation. Hello, is that not giving back? Right. So for this person to have said that, you know, people that are wealthy don't give back, that's ignorant. That right there is, you know, you're starting to fart into your own fucking mouth and think that it actually tastes like fucking grape juice, you know?
That's a disastrous mindset, because it's a negative, entitled mindset.
Yeah.
That's
if
horrible,
it was my money,
man.
I would give it back. Well, do me a favor first.
Get to the 8 million.
Get to 8 million, and you tell me how that works out. So here's a great example. CM Punk, Phil Brooks, I think is his real name. You know, the guy signed to UFC he's got an undefeated streak. Meaning he hasn't worked at all or been in a match. But that's another, you know, thing for another day. He had actually commented in, I think it was a very tell-all podcast with Cole Cabana, and he discussed about his disownment of his parents because they kept coming back to him. See, he was making millions, you know, being a main event draw. Pardon me, I think I got a booger. No, don't. People are listening to this going, what the hell?
What the fuck are these guys talking about?
But he was making millions of dollars. And, you know, feel free, if you're listening to this, go over to Cole Cabana's podcast. Just search up Cole Cabana and CM Punk. And they'll probably pull up this very controversial podcast, because he pretty much buries WWE and everything else. Well, he doesn't bury them. He just tells the truth about them. Yeah. In any event, though, he had discussed that, you know, he had a complete disownment of his parents because his parents kept coming to him, you know, hey, could you hook us up with some tickets? Oh, so-and-so cousin's going to be in town. Could you get them some tickets? Could you give us some money for this? Could you give us some money for that? And it got to the point to where he's just like, whoa, okay, what? You know, when has my money been your money? This makes no sense. I've extended myself so many times that now it's just being abused. So, you know, unfortunately, this person that speaks from this position of authority, thinking he's speaking from a position of authority, if I had $8 million, I'd give back. Listen to CM Punk. Listen to him, you know, talk about it. And, you know, and I probably just paraphrased a lot of what he said. But you can hear a lot of the pain and the disappointment that he had, and the fact that he actually literally had to put a fucking restraining order on his parents. A restraining order.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, and it wasn't like, you know, oh, let me just put a restraining order. No, I'm sure there's two sides to every story. Maybe there's going to be a podcast out there with CM Punk's parents. They're going to tell their side of the story. But this is what I get to hear from a legit millionaire's fucking side of the story. This guy that literally walked out on a company that he was making millions of dollars, which kudos to him. Because that meant he was miserable. He wasn't happy. And
sure.
He, very clear, he wasn't happy. And, you know, great. That's awesome. Glad he stood his ground and went and did that. But in any event, you know, that just goes to show, you know, you don't know what it's like until you are there. And when you are there, hit me up. Tell me like, hey, I got $8 million. I'm getting ready to give this shit away. You know, I'm going to do this stuff Brewster's Millions style. You know,
sign me up.
Yeah, exactly. Get a hold of me. Now, I'll take care of that money for you. You know, it's just, you know, yeah. And here's the other thing. If you're in a position that you're saying something like that and you're not making very much money, you're kind of like, oh, these rich people, they don't know anything. I need you to, first of all, evaluate. First of all, where are your priorities? Okay. All those different services, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, all that kind of stuff. I want to know how much charitable causes you've been involved in. I'm not talking about just donating money. I want to talk about donating time. This is something that I've been really lackadaisical about lately. But, you know, my wife and I have worked for Arizona Humane Society. We worked with various philanthropy groups. In fact, actually, further proof was Melina Shaw on our show a couple weeks back. You know, we met her through a philanthropy group, and we were able to give back to our community. That is giving back. You don't need to be a millionaire to give back. You can give your time. Time is the most precious thing in the world that you can give. So, you know, you don't necessarily need to be a millionaire to do that. So don't sit here and say that they should give back when you haven't given an ounce. And, oh, wait, hang on. You're giving some time over to Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime and YouTube. But, you know, hey, you know, those millionaires don't know what it's like. They don't know what it's like. You know, they should give back. You know, what are you kidding me? Are you insane? You can't tell somebody that they can't do something. You know, it's not a valid argument. It's not a valid argument. You're not fucking volunteering your time, then shut up. Don't tell people to give back.
Right. No, I completely agree with you, man. It honestly, there is zero argument there. Um, because what does the saying go? What is it? You want to find two fools, try arguing with one or something. I don't know what the crap it is, but
There you go.
you know what I mean.
Let's argue with one. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. You know, and another terminology and stuff too. I do know a few. They're not personal friends, but they're friends, and they have money coming out their ears, right?
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing because I know their story.
Yeah.
And my God, I want to give money to them. You know what I mean? Just because I know where they came from.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they give back. They do everything they can. They work their ass off to get there. So man, you know, but if you met them, you wouldn't know they're millionaires. They don't live. They don't live like that. Is what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah.
They're very humble, very modest. Things are taken care of, but they live very modestly. But I know people that are broke that seem to outshine these people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But these folks over here, they've got it coming out of their ears. You know what I mean?
Right.
They don't flaunt it, throw it around. You know what I mean? So what I hear is
It's a rich spirit like that they know they don't need to keep up with the Joneses. They know that material possessions ain't worth a crap. And you know, to me, that's why you don't ever hear from me saying that, you know, well, I want to have, you know, a Ferrari. Ferraris don't mean jack shit to me. You know what means something to me is when I'm on a plane over to any destination in the world that I want to go to with my wife, my loved one, you know, someone who I just enjoy to travel with, to be able to experience, to walk until we have blisters on our feet. That right there is worth $1 million to me, man.
Oh, dude, yeah, absolutely.
More than that, actually.
It's priceless. Yeah.
And you know, there's times where we'll walk out in the valley here until, you know, our feet hurt, and that right there is just amazing. So I don't have to spend very much money to do that. But the nice thing is that travel will, of course, be able to allow us that. But dude, it just slays me, you know. And if you are that one of those type of people, you probably, you know, maybe person has tuned out by now. But if you're still tuning in and you're hearing some of this, you need to really start to evaluate where your priorities are. And the next thing is, instead of pointing at people and saying you should, notice there's 3 fingers pointing right back at you. It means 3 times the effort needs to be going out on your behalf. Instead of pointing at someone, you need to start looking internally in yourself. You know, you don't like the employer, you don't like, you know, how they conduct things, then you need to start conducting yourself in the way that you see fit that the world needs to be doing. So you may not be wealthy. If you believe in giving back, then you need to start putting yourself to charitable causes. You need to start cutting those expenses, such as Netflix. Netflix ain't free. Hulu Plus is not free.
No.
You know, Amazon Prime is not free. YouTube comes free, but all of those things share one common expense, and that's time. And that is an invaluable thing. If you're really going to say, hey, I want to give back, you know, if I was $8 million, start giving back now. So when you get to that $8 million, it's not going to be so hard for you to part ways with that $8 million. Now, would.
Right. That's a valid point. Dude, and what is the money anyway? What do people put such an emphasis on that? Yes, you need it to live, and you know, if you want to travel, right? You know, those are
certain freedom. That's
right,
the thing.
Right.
That allows freedoms. You know, that's what people unfortunately don't look at it. They look at it as, you know, well, this is a tool for power. No, I just want freedom. You know, I don't want power. Hell, you know, as long as I have power over my bowels, I think I'm doing pretty good. That's a successful day to me.
Nice. Yeah, you know, and well, you know, it goes back to, you know, the only thing you can control is yourself, right? Yeah. And the sooner we all realize that, I think a lot of this negativity will go away, and this entitlement. Dude, I'll tell you, I hate to say it, and I'm not trying to be negative, but there's generations that are coming up now. Everything's entitled. Everything they feel they're entitled to without putting in the work.
Yeah, I think it comes with the advent of technology, but you got to understand it's almost like looking at all wealthy people as being crooked or greedy, which in this instance, that person did find that they're crooked or greedy. don't let the few bad apples spoil the bunch. There are some truly gifted and wonderful people out there. I know. Just I've already mentioned Kevin already before.
Yeah, younger generation stuff. Sure, yeah.
3 beautiful daughters that are incredible. They're incredibly smart. They're articulate, and they work for everything. It's yes, please. Yeah, no, thank you. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. It's all. There's still don't give up on them, Kevin. There really is. There's a few bad apples out there. And unfortunately, with technology being the way it is, unfortunately, those bad apples are able to broadcast their thoughts a little bit.
Multiply like rabbits.
Whereas, the people that are a bit more connected, they're not going to be on those type of means. For one, Kevin doesn't allow his daughters on social media. That's just a parenting thing. Hello. I'm
right. I mean, it's true. It starts with the parents. Sure.
Yeah, I think you're probably another good example. I'm sure your daughter never acts entitled. If she does, I don't know what will happen there because
she went through a phase. That was back in junior high, and she quickly learned.
Was that when you chained her up in the basement?
Yeah, we didn't feed her for a week. Joke, people. Joke.
That's joke. Well, you know what, man, dude, we're getting down to the end of our hour here. I believe it's already about 20 minutes after. So, any event, it's good to kind of get this stuff off my chest. I'm certainly, hey, look, if you want to argue this point, don't bother emailing us.
We will not give you a free audiobook for this.
Yeah. Form your own podcast. You go on there and you can talk about how crooked wealthy people are and how you feel that the whole system should be more communist state. And how, everybody should have equal things, that, the person who's picking the vegetables should be paid the same as the person who's sitting in an office chair demanding the vegetable workers, assistant manager and the manager above them and the district manager above them to take care of things. Quite frankly, if you don't like the system, then get out of it.
That just doesn't even make any sense, to be honest with you.
It doesn't. I don't think that this was coherent thought through. It wasn't enough research. No less to pigeonhole wealthy people as all crooked. That's like saying every person who runs a podcast is crooked and they suck. There are tons of great podcasts out there, and so it just kills me. Just sit there and put blanket statements on wealthy people. Hey, look, here's a good idea. If you feel so twisted about it, find out what made them successful, and it's not luck. It's called hard fucking work, massive fucking action. Put those two together, guess what? You will be wildly successful, and your luck will come too.
Yeah. Again, it's disguised, man. You know what I mean? I don't know, dude. I don't know. I mean, I trust me, I've got so much more to say, but we'll just keep that capped off for now.
Yeah, for sure. So, dude, next week's the week. Next Wednesday, we've got the incomparable Christmas Abbott coming to the show. So this is going to be fantastic. We're going to disconnect and we're going to put together a line of questions.
Who?
Yeah, Christmas Abbott. You may have heard of her. Maybe she's on Oxygen magazine right now.
I don't know.
Have you seen that cover yet? By the way.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Kelly pulled it out. She was like, "Hey, look at this." I was like, "Yes,
yeah.
Yes." I'm gonna have to bolt down my desk for next week, so I'm not like tossing it like, a good Hulk smash.
Well, I tell you what, there's somebody that works her ass off, dude. That girl doesn't sit still. So
I don't even think I'm going to broach the subject of, people that are wealthy.
No, I'm going to ask her though how she feels to be the only female pit crew member in NASCAR.
Yeah, incredibly jacked too, by the way.
Yes.
So, any rate. Thanks, folks. I really appreciate you tuning in tonight. Kevin, close out our show, dude.
All I've got to say is thanks for tuning in, but also go to bed with this thought in mind. If there's something that you need to change or you don't like about your life, wake up tomorrow and start making the steps to change it, because guess what? You only get one shot. So other than that, have a great night.
Please support the show by simply shopping at Amazon through the link in the show description. Every time you make a purchase through the provided link, a small percentage of sales goes back to support the show. There's no additional cost to you, and it greatly helps us out. Simply go to the link, bookmark it in your browser, and do your shopping on Amazon while you support the Bootstrap Businessmen podcast. Thanks for tuning in to Bootstrap Businessmen.